record a quick... We'll do a quick sound check. Sound.
You are listening to Two Mics No Masters, where two guys that love pizza and can't stop eating, but are in great shape and look fantastic. It's a curse.
And a super smart.
Yeah, wicked smart.
Wicked smart guy.
Two minds, no masters. Two minds, no masters. Two minds, no masters. Two minds, no masters.
Hatebreed played Metal Fest in, it was one of the early Metal Fests, and the band AC stole their time slot over at the Commercial Street Cafe. So they're running the two stages, the upstairs, downstairs, the Palladium, and that other one, the next street over from the Palladium. And apparently Hatebreed was supposed to play the other stage at the Commercial Street Cafe, and AC took their time slot or something like that, from my understanding. So then when Hatebreed played upstairs Palladium for the Metal Fest, Jamie was just in a mood, and he was like, pretty much, I don't know if someone was flipping him off or something, but he was like targeting that specific dude. He literally pointed the guy out and was like, pretty much, take that guy down, mess him up, whatever. And the place just got violent. Like, it was a bad energy after that, and everyone went after that dude, and the place exploded with just violence. And I'm kind of standing there where there's like the doors that you can kind of, like the two sections of doors they have there that you can walk up into the upstairs room. So I'm standing right on the inside of the door, and all of a sudden the door just flings open, and police just literally barrel through all of us because there's a massive fight in the pit, and they pick up the person that's getting pummeled, rip that guy off the floor, and throw him out, and like literally completely out through those doors, through the other main doors of the Palladium, and onto the street. I think they arrested the guy. I'm like, but that guy was getting pummeled. He wasn't doing anything. But it's because, certain people knew certain other people. They weren't going to get in trouble for whatever happened. But it was nonstop. And that was actually, if everyone remembers, that started the whole Hatebreed AC riot upstairs Palladium. It was complete mayhem after that. Complete, just negative energy and violence. It was insane.
Yeah, it's not it's not the first time we've seen similar incidents where, things get a little out of control, and it was prompted
right
a lot.
Yep.
Most of the time prompted by someone in the band from the stage, which activates the crowd.
Right.
There's many of those. It's interesting because End It was scheduled to be on a European tour with Hatebreed, and they after this Banana Man incident, they were dropped, and so people are implying that it was because of that,
right?
Which would make it ironic given the story you just told,
right? And I know this was early Hatebreed, obviously,
yes.
Which, if anyone clearly knows Hatebreed from their early days, was complete violence, nonstop. I mean, anywhere you went, especially Connecticut, you had to have your head on a swivel. Otherwise, it's going to get knocked off. It was super violent, super hard, super dangerous, which honestly made it kind of fun, too. It was cool to see these things, to be a part of it, and to be there, in danger. But... So, I mean...
That was definitely part of the thrill.
It was, because it was like, I could actually get severely hurt at any second. And you're kind of like, this sucks, but it's also kind of cool. I don't know, which is weird. Nowadays, I wouldn't be cool with it because I'm too old. But, so, that was early on, and obviously they were way younger. So were we at the time. We're probably around the same ages as those guys. But hopefully they learned, and it seemed like they did, because they don't want to be associated with that anymore, which is great. I mean, it's like, that was 20-something years ago, maybe. So, obviously they don't, and End It is probably the age they were when they used to have shows like that too. Yeah. So, I mean, End It's kids, and I think they're caught up in the whole vibe now of the scene of violence and crazy mosh calls and whatever, which can be fun. I'm not saying it's not to have.
Yeah, they can totally be fun.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
But I think they're just getting caught up in the whole thing. And unfortunately, and it's just coming from someone that's been around for a long time, both you and I. And I think we look at it differently now. It's hindsight, it's perspective. We've been to the super violent shows, the super heavy, hard shows, whatever. And now, which is still awesome, you still have to see a really tough band. Even still, 100 Demons is nasty. Like, you go see them live, you got to watch out. But it's different now. There's more respect with the older bands play, I think. So I think the newer bands get caught up in kind of just the whole negative. See how tough everyone is. See how hard you can hit somebody. And it's played out already.
Yeah, it is played out.
Yeah.
It was played out, in my opinion, it was played out very quickly.
Yeah.
Pardon me. I think you nailed it. There was something that I was actually reaching for that you touched on, which is perspective. My comment about Hatebreed and the violence back in the day wasn't an indictment of Hatebreed, but more as just to highlight perspective. And I think we agree, and Jamie probably does too, being older, that, that sort of behavior is not necessarily acceptable. And where I think the perspective is getting lost is we were also that age. And so Akil is, 30 maybe? A little over 30?
I'm not even sure, yeah.
So he's a pretty young dude. And,
sure.
And so he doesn't have the benefit of the experience and the hindsight and the perspective that we have as older people.
And you can't necessarily blame him for that, because he's literally, if he is 30 or around 30, of course he's not going to have it, and we can't blame him for that because he's not there yet.
That's right.
So,
that's exactly my point.
And that's not an indictment on him either, because he's just a younger guy.
Yeah. And we know you get caught up, you get annoyed with some stuff, you're on stage, you're trying to perform, you give your best performance.
Right.
Maybe you're looking for a certain vibe, and something happens. It doesn't have to be Banana Man.
I didn't think of that either when you just said that. I didn't think of it from his point of view, or the other members' point of view, where, like you just said, they could be, who knows what happened earlier that day. The van might have broke down, whatever. I don't know.
Totally.
But yeah, you have a certain expectation going into every show, and I'm sure these guys have been on tour long enough that they have their certain way of performing live. So they have a whole scenario in their head how it's going to go, and then this banana dude comes out of nowhere. I don't know if I think he goes to a bunch of shows. Is it the same dude? There is a couple dudes that go around.
I don't know. I don't think it's the same. It could be the same dude. I don't think it is.
So they might, like you said, they could have been annoyed, or like, come on, really? This is serious. Like, I don't know. Who knows? We don't know. But unfortunately, this also proves, though, that actions do have consequences.
Yes.
They just do. And for Hatebreed, I don't know. I'm not speaking for anybody else, but if Hatebreed's management or whoever took them off the tour, if it was them, they this is their livelihood. Like, and it could honestly not be a band tomorrow, and they would do other things. Hatebreed has a literal super long 30+ year career. It's like they're not going to mess it up over a band that's inciting violence. So that's it.
Again, different perspective,
right?
They're
in different stages of life. So,
and I've heard a lot of different. If people don't know, we're talking about an incident with End It and a dude dressed in a banana suit that went down a couple weeks ago. No, June.
That was pretty recent.
Yeah, pretty recent. Last week.
Yeah.
It was actually the same tour that I had seen in Boston, but in Toronto. And some people of the band, I don't know their motivations, called out to, get the guy. I think the direct, and I can't directly quote because I don't know it, but I'm paraphrasing, to tear him apart. And they would offer the set list or whatever.
That's right. That's what it was.
And people did it, which is also a choice.
Yeah, if I was that dude, I'd be running out of that place pretty quick because a lot of people just after you. That's not cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And so a lot of things happen there, and I've heard a lot of different arguments. Well, Banana Man shouldn't have been there in that type of environment, in that pit, looking for attention. He got attention. Then there's people saying, well, he's harmless.
Yeah.
Let him be.
Right.
And the pit is the pit, and
because at a certain point, if you have a microphone in your hand or you're part of the band, whatever, and you're playing live, you do have a responsibility.
You do.
To some point.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a call to action that a bunch of people are probably going to do.
Yes. If you're in a band, especially if you have any sort of following and that your words can influence or do influence others, and you say say something that results in harm to someone, and then you are partly responsible for that.
For sure.
And the other part is, well, Banana Man shouldn't have been there. And that may be true, but he was.
But why couldn't he be?
And even if I agree that it's annoying, because I think it's, again, played out. I think it's like, beach balls at municipal waste shows.
I was just going to bring up them because that's a different sort of show.
It's expected.
They're a party band.
And it's sort of part of that band's show,
right?
Persona and experience. Yeah. Where if you read the room, the bands that were playing, the Banana Suit, although not totally unacceptable, may not have been the best choice.
Right.
But again, if we go that route, then we got to start criticizing everyone for whatever their choice of attire may be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like I've seen the Black Dahlia Murder play in Hawaiian shirts. One time they dressed up as the whole gang of Scooby-Doo.
Right.
But obviously that's their choice. They had fun. But they're an extreme death metal band. But they didn't care.
Yeah.
They just had fun. And this guy, and that's another thing too. I don't know the Banana guy's incentive or motive. He might have been going for a negative reason. It's possible. I don't know.
Totally.
But to me, the person I am, I'd be going to be like, look how ridiculous this is. Let's do it. Let's have fun, But who knows?
And it's made to be fun.
You would hope so.
And I would accept it as being fun. I don't want people to get into victim blaming, like blaming the dude.
Right.
I brought it up only as a perspective. I'm not saying it's not his fault, man. Like, people just decide to thrash the dude.
Right. It's like, he should have did like a mosh call. Like, I want you to peel that dude. No, I'll just forget it.
Yeah.
That was too lame. But it's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, exactly. Victim shaming. Like, he's laid on the ground bleeding to death. Like,
we shouldn't have wore that suit.
Yeah, your fault, buddy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I was like trying to give everyone some joy or something. Who knows?
Yeah. I think it was taken definitely too far. I think it was a bad call by the band. It doesn't make them bad people.
No, it could have been a bad judgment call.
Totally.
And, I don't know.
What I don't think is cool and very hardcore and punk at all is just immediately trying to cancel this band, to just ruin this band because of this one incident. Mm-hmm. And I also heard that the Banana guy is now bringing a lawsuit against the band.
Really?
Which I don't know.
Did he get hurt? Do we know how he is?
I don't know. And that's why I'm reserving judgment, because I don't know how very hurt. I
would like to know that, actually.
Yeah. If it was just tore his banana suit, come on, man. It sucks.
It sucks.
It does suck.
Say you spend $50 in that suit and it gets ruined. I'm not going to say you start a lawsuit to get your $50 back, but let's let people have a good time. Like, let people enjoy things in life. Who cares?
Yeah. I think the damage from a potential lawsuit, I think there's much more potential for damage there than by going the lawsuit route. Than by learning from this.
It could ruin the band.
Yes.
For sure.
And ruin this. I think it could impact the scene as well.
Well, because I think, and people love to say kind of, what happens at shows, kind of like the whole Vegas thing. What happens at shows stays at shows. Like, that's part of the scene, part of the culture. But it's like, I'm sorry, no. It's even if you don't agree or you do agree with what I just said, the fact is, dancing at shows, moshing at shows, crowd killing, all of it. Yeah, it's some of that stuff. I have different opinions on some of the stuff I just said, but it does happen at shows. If it's happening, some of that stuff is the point of going to shows. It's part of the expression and the music and the feeling from the music. But in this day and age, it doesn't matter what your opinions are on it. You can't harm somebody and just kind of get away with it and be like, well, that's what we do here. It's just, it doesn't matter. This is 2026 and you can't lay your hands on somebody, period. Like, especially outside. I mean, half the stuff, if like we were just saying earlier before we started recording, half the stuff that happens in the pit, if you did it walking down the street, you would be arrested. That's it. I mean, and I'm not saying don't dance at shows. That's a huge, awesome part of it. And we enjoyed that for years. But at some point, it's like, there needs to be a line. Like, just don't disrespect people. But some people took the Banana Guy as disrespecting the band, possibly. I don't know. But there needs to be a line, like, just, excuse me, just let people be. I don't know.
I think there's a line. I just think it's unwritten. And depending on who you ask, the line moves.
Right.
Which is what why I wanted to talk about the perspective of it. I've in the hardcore internet online, it's buzzing about this thing. And everybody has their opinions about it, and the opinions vary greatly.
Yeah.
We should, I think it's a good opportunity for people to kind of take a look at these things, and really try to understand better. It's never okay to intentionally harm someone.
No.
No.
Crowd
killing. I've heard a lot of argument. There's a lot of defense of crowd killing. I personally think there's no place in hardcore. Again, perspective. I've lived some of this, so I speak from experience. Harming someone under the umbrella of hardcore culture is bullshit. It's not part of the culture. It's people moshing and dancing and pits are no doubt part of the culture. Harming someone, running around, punching someone 3 people deep from the pit is intentional harm. What you are is a bully. You're choosing to harm people, to use violence against people with a soundtrack, calling it part of the culture.
Yep.
And so also bringing that to a place where it doesn't belong. Not every show needs a kung fu pit.
True.
Some do. Some call for it.
Right.
It's part of it.
Yeah.
And so that's when I say read the room, that's sort of what I mean.
Yeah, because that's another huge thing too. When you read comments online of certain videos, there's always that person that'll be like, oh, no karate in the pit, or that's stupid. And then someone's like, no, that's what happens. Then don't go to these shows. This is what happens at these shows. So the opinions are massively different. They vary drastically. But yeah, and it's true, every certain scene, it's funny how divided it is, because every certain scene has its certain type of dancing and moshing. That's just how it is. I never like to see somebody get hurt, ever. Especially when there was absolutely no need for it. And by that, I mean, hey, we've all hit somebody by accident. And all you have to do is just turn around and say, hey, sorry about that. Pat on the back or something. And I've never seen it not be cool when you do that. It's, oh, yeah, no problem, you know. Because people understand, too, like if they're getting in there or you're that close, kind of like on the outskirts of the pit. And outskirts, I mean, usually like one person deep. Like if your hand's reaching over on purpose, mind you, then that's a different issue to me. And I even listened to Vinny Stigma's book the other day, and he even called out crowd killing and said it was stupid. Vinny Stigma said that. It's like, I mean, I don't think there's a conversation after that. Someone that's literally hardcore OG, literally one of the starters and originators of hardcore, said that. It's like, well, there you go. This guy's been there since the beginning, so not much more to talk about.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just don't understand. Like, I want people to. I've danced super hard before, many times, because it's just like you feel the power of the music, and that's what it's all about. And I love watching people go off. But you also have to know too, like, even the fact, if we want to dig deep, it's like if you're a massively huge dude, and we know all those kind of guys, that's awesome, and you could probably destroy most people. I get that. That's fine, whatever. But also know your surroundings. Like, if there's like much, much smaller people than you, do you get joy out of like literally just crushing that person?
Yes.
Like, I don't understand. And yes, some of the responsibility is on maybe the smaller individuals to stay the hell away from you. Because trust me, I'm aware. I'm like, oh yeah, but that dude's huge. I'm not going to get in his range of motion. You know, I don't feel like getting knocked out. It's like, yeah, it's responsible. If you're there, be aware. Period. Everybody. You know, it's not just like you were at the show 6 people deep and now you're in the hospital. It's your fault. It's like, no, absolutely not.
I think you're absolutely right. You talked about responsibility, and I think that's the best way to put it is just because you're a 225-pound dude built like a football player, and you can knock down 6 or 7 people at a time, doesn't mean you should.
Right.
Just because you can hit someone really hard doesn't mean you should, and that it's okay.
Right. And I actually want to understand that. I want to understand that part of it, the mentality of that person. I'd love to talk to that person and be like, what's the reasoning for you doing that?
You're right. There's a line between dancing hard and having fun.
Sure. And
intentionally hurting people, and people know what the fuck they're doing. And so people can't say, oh, well, it's part, no, dude. People know what they're doing. And I know people are going to come at me hard for this because I was guilty of that.
We've all done it.
That's why I'm speaking on it.
Yeah, and it was wrong when I did it.
It was correct. It was wrong when I did it. And I'm not any more relaxed on it as an adult because I've been on both sides. Yeah. You know what I mean? Dude, we still get killed at shows.
Yeah.
Just for wanting to get a better view of...
Right.
And so... Which is annoying as fuck. But I also know going into the show...
Right.
That I'm sort of giving my consent by entering this environment that I know that I might get...
Depending on where I'm standing.
Correct.
If I choose... That's the problem I have with it. If I choose to be, I think, more than a sufficient amount away from the pit, and I still somehow get hit... Because, okay, if you're, say, 6 people deep from the pit, and you get pushed back because everyone's like, runs into the sides, pushes you back, I have absolutely no problem with that, clearly. Whatever, you're opening the place up, we've all done it, that's cool, I'm fine with that. No one's getting hurt, that's fine. You know, some involvement, you know, it's kind of fun, you know, you get pushed back, you're like, geez, this place is going insane, you know, it's fun. But I shouldn't be getting punched in the mouth. Like, I've seen a girl get smashed in the head like 5 people deep. It's like, why?
Yes.
That's plenty of room.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes it's like this big open pit, literally open, like there's like 3 people dancing in this huge circle. There's plenty of room for each of you actually not to touch each other dancing. and somehow people are still getting hit on the outside. It's like, what? How? Why? Like, you don't have to prove anything to me. Like, especially these guys that are actually like monsters, are huge. It's like, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. We're well aware you could probably beat us up, and that's fine. Cool. Good for you. But I don't know. Why ruin someone else's experience?
Yeah, I think it's taking control of the pit to show your dominance.
Yeah. You could just stand there and we'd be like, yeah, that guy's huge.
Be like, I'm so hard that this is I own this pit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then on the other hand, I've seen actually some big dudes be the coolest dudes in the world.
Totally.
And take care of people that they know because they know they're huge. You know?
Yeah. I don't think it's unique to big guys.
I was just saying that as an example.
Yes. We're using it it's more of a visual thing. So you can,
sure.
Pit etiquette applies to everybody. And I've seen some really small dudes get really hostile. And again, I think we're back to mentality, using that opportunity you're essentially assaulting people, and you could not do that on the street without having consequences. I think being arrested might be the best outcome, and the worst outcome
right.
is what other people will do to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know, and if we were standing in the back of the club and somebody walked up and punched us in the face, or even if it's probably over for them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not because I'm a particularly tough guy.
No. Nor do I care to be.
But there are people within the scene that just don't tolerate that shit. You know what I mean? You can maybe get away with it in the pit, But again, I hear people, this scene and that scene, or the beatdown scene, or okay, that's cool.
Right.
You go to beatdown shows, everybody kicks the shit out of each other.
Yeah, if everyone, it's sort of an unwritten / written rule that beatdown shows, you will get smashed. It's part of the scene. Then just play with beatdown bands. Other beatdown bands play with beatdown bands, and everyone gets beat down and have fun. Yep. Don't bring it to different scenes.
If I'm at a beatdown show and I'm standing on the edge of the pit, I can expect to get hit.
And some people actually do enjoy that.
Yes.
And that's fine.
That's cool.
Because you know that. But if I'm going to see, I'm trying to think of an example, but obviously another heavy band, but it's not a beatdown band. It's just like a metal band or a hardcore band, and people are absolutely getting destroyed. I'm cool with that. No, I'm cool. I'm good with that. I meant as in like all set. No, thank you.
I think bringing that beatdown mentality to every show is not the flex that people think it is. Right. Being that dude that like takes control of the dance floor, it's not as cool as people want it to be. And you might feel great in the moment. Look at me, I'm so fucking tough. But it's ridiculous. It is.
How many shows have we been to where we've seen a band and the whole place is going off, and everyone, the energy is so positive and so it's still aggressive music, and everyone's going crazy, losing their minds, dancing in their own style, having a good time, and smiling actually because they're just like, this is so much fun. And that's the best feeling in the world. Mm-hmm. Nobody's getting hurt. There's like 500 people dancing, and you're like, this is the best thing ever. You don't really have to, because that's the thing. People at a show like that still relatively dance, let's say, hard, but not hard like they're trying to hurt somebody. Just hard, like going off. And you get hit by someone in there, it's just kind of like, no big deal, because you're not going to get absolutely smashed. Mm-hmm. There's a difference.
Yeah.
So. I don't know. I would like just people to watch out for each other.
I would too.
And I know, I get it. People are probably, there's certain people that might listen to this and go, "That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard." And it's like, okay, we're not saying. I still want to see people go off and go hard. You go as hard as you want. Just watch out for people. That's all. You could be the hardest swinger in the world, kicker, whatever. Because fights are going to happen. It happens once in a while. It's never going to stop. Violence is never going to stop. Hitting people happens. Just be cool, with other people when you do hit them. it's an accident. Well, if it is an accident, just be cool, you know?
The line is malice and intent.
Right.
If your intent is to do harm to someone, then you really need to reevaluate why you're at shows. Like, is it really for the music, or is it to hear heavy riffs so that you can just swing your fists around like a fucking caveman and just hit each other?
Yeah.
It offers zero value.
It actually devalues it, I think.
It devalues the scene. It keeps people from potentially enjoying it more or never coming back.
Yeah.
Nobody likes getting punched in the face. And again, where that line, you know, you give consent. You walk in the door knowing that you're at a hardcore show or whatever, and that metal show, and there's the potential of getting slammed into or bumped or whatever.
And I'm not saying make hardcore soft. People always love throwing that around. Like, oh, it's just got soft. It's like, no, it didn't get soft. Like I said, go off, go crazy, go hard. I mean, because you wouldn't say it to Scott Vogel's face. I don't hear anyone saying to Scott Vogel he's soft, because he makes sure people take care. He still wants you to go off, stage dive, slam dance, do whatever you got to do. But no fighting, no hurting people.
Yeah, crowd killing doesn't make you hard. It makes you an asshole. It's that simple. So I'm sure all these tough guys are going to come at me and be like, oh, yeah, I'll show you who's tough. No, you won't. Because you're literally reinforcing what I just said by coming at me all hot. You could take crowd killing out of shows and it would change nothing. It would, except for, that's not right. That's not what I meant.
I know what you meant, but
yes. It's not what I meant. Meaning you wouldn't miss anything. It would actually become more, I think, a little more fun. You know, there's so many shows we go to where the dance floor is just empty because people, it's more about swinging your arms and kicking your legs in a way as to inflict violence. A lot of it doesn't even have any style.
That's a good point too, actually, because back in the day, you could tell who was dancing by their style because you're like, oh, that's so-and-so.
Yes. We all had our own unique styles.
Because it was just about going off.
Yes.
And enjoying how, especially for me personally, however the music made me feel is the way I moved. Like, it was just a rhythm or the beats or something like that, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
It wasn't like, I'm going to do this to punch this person. It was just, I actually, you know, because back in the day when I didn't necessarily dance hard, but just kind of still just went up like a nut, just went out there and just flailed and did whatever. Even if I did hit somebody, it probably wouldn't have really hurt that much because I wasn't swinging that hard. Just kind of having fun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you brought up a point before, which is, and we sort of started here, and now we've circled back here to here, is that depending on what subgenre of the scene, you know, we talk about hardcore as a whole, but there are little sub scenes within those. We talk about beatdown. We talk about, like, you know, the power of violence, or the, you know, the crusty scene. You know, there's all these subgenres, and so with each one comes its own set of rules and expectations. And so I think a lot of the disconnect comes when you put all those together. I like when different styles and bands play together, but that also brings different fans and different expectations.
Right.
And so when you got people that, like, their hardcore experience is just, it's essentially like MMA fighting. That's cool. But then this is where reading the room and understanding your responsibility and other people's responsibility. You know.
Well, I just thought of something while you were talking. If there could be a tour, like back in the day in 1991, it was Anthrax and Public Enemy. I mean, that's not even different styles of metal and hardcore. That's different genres.
Yes.
And guess what? I've seen so many interviews with Chuck D, like Scotty and those guys. Like, there was no issues. Like if that tour can get along and everyone, there was no fighting or problems, but in the same kind of niche little hardcore world, there's problems. Like I don't how that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know?
And you bring up a good point. So I was going to hardcore shows and I was always going and I was also going to hip hop shows. And so mosh pits were not a thing at hip hop shows. Your average hip hop fan didn't understand getting bumped into
Right.
or pushed.
Right.
Like a mosh pit was not, different experiences. At some point, the two started to kind of mesh together. And I started to see, and I don't know if that was because hip hop fans were going to hardcore shows, hardcore fans were going to hip hop shows. And so those sort of different cultures started to mesh. Sometimes that happens organically, sometimes not so much.
Right.
But it leads to the question about expectations. Nobody, when you started going to shows, did anybody I think we talked about this. Nobody really sat you down with like a manual and they're like, well, you do this happens, this happens, like this stuff is.
I heard stories, which is why it took me a while to go because I was like, I don't know if I'm kind of scared to go. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's no...
But there wasn't like, here's the playbook. Here's
that's right.
Here's the 10 rules of shows.
And so, exactly. And so there's no real rules. It's all unwritten. You learn by going and talking and experiencing. And sometimes you just make up your own rules because you...
We kind of you just I think you just don't kind of run in there like an all-star. And this goes for anything in life. You don't try and own the place if you just show up and you're new. Because you're learning, you don't know what this thing's about yet. And you have to get a read for everything and see how everything works and operates. And you're like, okay. And after a while, you just kind of organically oh, obviously this is how this works. Okay, now I get this. This is what happens if someone falls down or whatever. And you just kind of learn. And then you can become kind of part of it.
Yes.
It's. I think everyone has a problem, like in anything in life, is when someone just shows up and they think they're just like, oh, I'm doing this. You're like, well, you don't know how this works yet. Like, hey, know your place, kind of, so.
Yeah, I think it depends on what pocket you fall into, too. Again, it comes down to perspective and these unwritten rules. If you're used to one thing and you show up and it's another thing, to hold someone accountable for rules that they weren't even aware of is sort of a is that fair? Is it fair? Is it fair to hold someone accountable when they don't know the rules? And to take that a step further, are we alienating people? Can a scene with so many unwritten rules and varying expectations, can it really be all inclusive? Because we've talked about inclusivity before, but then that there's limitations and lines there.
Right. I mean, usually, I think if you talk to a lot of people that, especially like from our heyday, if people were in the scene, they got introduced from somebody else, but they probably went to school with, or because even myself, I started going because of people in school. Like I already knew people that went to shows, so it was easy for me just to go with them or show up and they were there, so I could kind of just hang with them and kind of learn the ropes, Whereas if someone just walked in off the street. Yeah, cause you've seen it happen a million times where someone would just kind of walk in and you could tell by the way they looked and kind of were acting that this is definitely their first time.
Sure.
And which could be the best thing in the world or the worst thing in the world, depending on what they're going to do. And that's bringing me back to my previous point is like, if you walk in and it's your first show and you just decide to jump in the pit and just do whatever and maybe hit somebody, essentially the wrong person, you might get beat up.
Mm.
And then you're probably never coming again, for one thing. But is it your fault? I guess is kind of what you were saying. But God, yes, because you kind of have to have that mentality in the first place to be like, oh, I can do this too. It's like, yeah, but you just got here. You think this is all these people's first time? Probably not.
No.
So kind of sit back, because I think it depends on the kind of person you are, how you act. If you're the kind of person that just should be sensible about it and be like, yeah, it's my first time, so I'm going to lay back and, check it out. I'm just coming to check it out. Because I'm pretty sure if tons of people have come to check out this thing they've heard about, because it did get bigger at a point where it was like, oh, this heavy music, what's this about? Or this like type of dancing, so they're intrigued by it, like outsiders. So you come to a show and you see it and then you go, either that's not for me or I kind of want to become part of this because we all started somewhere. But yeah, I think just kind of sit back and see what's going on before you just decide to just think you're part of it.
Definitely seen people who you can tell it's probably one of their first shows. And then later on in the night, you see them, sort of leaving the pit holding their mouth or, their eye or their arm is crooked.
Yep. Because
they got messed up. And
yeah,
I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying it.
No,
it's nobody tells you these rules. We do know somebody, a friend of ours, is their kid went to, he's show going age now. He's probably, I think, 15 or 16 or so.
Yep.
He went to a bunch of shows before he even dared to get in the pit.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's the way everybody should do it, but I'm saying it may be helpful for people to kind of, understand what they're doing. There's a lot of unwritten rules.
Yeah, and that's another one too, like we were bringing up before, is like the type of show. If you're running into if your first show's a beatdown show and you're running in the pit, stop what you're doing. Like, make sure you don't do that. If you're going to see band, like say Trivium or something, and you want to kind of just have a little fun, jump around, and sure,
totally,
that might be a safe spot for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of choose wisely.
In an earlier episode, I referred to the pit and shows in general as being a safe place, and it is within reason. You still, everyone has a responsibility to at the very least be respectful. Stuff does happen. People get hit. Sometimes people get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people say and do things, and I think it's a chance for us to improve as people and as a scene, as opposed to just continuing to polarize and just put more division between people.
Right. I mean, I think, in this day and age, for me personally, the age I am going to shows, the only thing I care about going to a show is like usually going with friends, obviously enjoying the show, but like just watching the band and enjoying their music. And because usually we go to see bands that we love, that we've probably seen a billion times before, but I couldn't care less about, I still, obviously I do want to see, I want to watch people go crazy. I do. It's part of the thing. I don't want to see 100 Demons or Terror or End It Pit look like a quicksand pit. Obviously. That's not what we're saying. We're not saying like, yes, please, like, hey guys, kind of like keep it down a little bit and like, no, of course not. Go off. Whatever the music makes you feel, you should do without hurting people. That's what we're getting at. But there's different scenes, different genres, cultures, and it should be appropriate. I think you were saying that before, to the band that's playing, to the show. But yeah, I mean, it's part of the experience with it. I keep saying within reason, but it's so true. But we're not talking about being soft or like calming down or just being respectful to other people. I mean, that's it. That's the only thing we're saying is being respectful and just watching out for other people and having a great time. Everyone should be having a great time. No one should be getting severely hurt.
Yeah.
That's it.
You nailed it when you said experience. My show going experience now is very different than when I was a teenager. With that being said, I've been through all those stages. The dude who lived in the pit.
Yep.
The not so much, and then the really not so much. Like as I got older and my perspective changed, so did my experience. Not any less fun, just it's just different. And also, crowd killing's still fucking stupid. After all this, especially the people who want to crowd kill and then get mad at others for giving it right back.
I don't get that.
Those particular dudes are the worst.
Right. It's like, wait, what? You just punched me in the face and I'm 5 people back and then I kick you and you're mad at me?
So you're a bully and a crybaby? Awesome.
Yeah,
you want to inflict your way on everyone else, but no one else can do it? Fuck off. All right. So those dudes are the worst. And the reason I bring all this stuff up, and somebody might say, oh, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's out of touch. He's this, he's that. And that's why I mentioned the timeline of my perspective is what it is because I've been down that road. It's been a long road.
Yeah.
And so not heard, but saw online recently, someone say that, and a couple of promoters and a couple of venues have talked about consent. We talked about assumed risk. Like you walk into a room, a club, and there's an assumed risk there. But some people are taking it further and saying that it's got to be an expressed consent. So they want your experience to be that no one should touch anyone else ever without consent. And I think, yes, ideally, no one wants to be touched, without giving their consent. However, is it given the environment, given the scene, is it realistic?
No,
I don't think it is either.
That's a flat out no.
Yeah, I don't. Without completely changing the scene, and everything, I don't think it's possible.
No.
Because then essentially, I mean, especially in a crowded room, it's impossible. It's impossible to navigate a room without touching. And the reason I go to that extreme is because once you open that door, you're opening up for people to go that far. And I think there's value in people being respectful and understanding that not everybody wants to be punched in the face or slammed into. And also the responsibility of the person in the room to understand that there's a potential for that. With that being said, does a person standing at the bar want to get nailed and have their drink go flying? Probably not.
That's why they're standing there in the first place.
That's why correct. And so where is to me, it seems like there's no clear beginning and end to that. That's why I'm bringing up all these different sort of viewpoints, is because where is it? Some people are like all or nothing, and some people are like never consent. I think it sort of lies in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, there's responsibility on every party, I think.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think, as much as I think value consent, and think it's truly important for people to have agency over their own bodies.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
1,000%. I think it's not always realistic.
Not in that environment, no.
No.
Clearly, if you're walking down the street, it doesn't matter how you do it, you just can't touch anybody, period.
Yes.
Obviously. I mean, because even being like, a heavily tattooed person, it's happened so many times, just standing in line at like a grocery store, just trying to cash out. And from behind, I get my arm grabbed. I'm like, I turn around like, what are you doing? Like, oh, I'm just tattoos. I'm like, yeah, you don't have to touch me though.
Yeah.
Like, that's not cool. I don't know you.
Yes.
Like, if you know me and you want to goof around with me, obviously grab me. That's whatever. I don't care. But I'm like, you don't know me. And they don't feel like anything. They don't feel like the picture. It's like, you know what I mean? But I'm like, what are you doing?
Yes.
Like, what makes someone think they can touch a human being? It's like, no.
And that's a good example. And if you did that at a show, you'd get the same response, man.
Well,
like,
right.
You can't just grab people and be like, oh, look your tattoos. Like, although everybody in the room, many people in the room are probably tattooed.
Right, so probably wouldn't matter. But if someone do you mind if I see your tattoos?
Yes.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah. Who's the artist? That's really cool. I really dig that. It caught my eye. Like,
yeah, don't be a weirdo.
Yeah, don't be a weirdo. And I think it's a fair discussion. Like, to expect to get full consent all the time at a hardcore show is such a naive thing, and it comes off as a bit self-centered and very naive.
Well, once you walk through the door, you're giving partial consent to the surroundings. I think kind of knowing where you are, like literally when you buy the ticket, walk through the door, anything. Think about a comedy show. You're giving consent to be made fun of, possibly. That's how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be like, whoa, you didn't ask. You're not going to do that to a comedian. I think you'll never be able to get someone's verbal consent. Like, you're not going to, or sign like this paper of like release form to get punched in the mouth. Like, it's not going to happen. But because like back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, going to shows earlier on, it's like things happen that today there have been massive lawsuits.
Yes.
But it just happened. It's becoming more prevalent, I guess, because now people are more aware of stuff, and things are supposed to progress and get better.
Yes.
That's the whole point of this. I think this episode is that, yes, these things did happen, and they shouldn't anymore. Like, let's put a stop to it. It's not one of those things like, well, it's been happening for this many years. Like, I don't care.
Exactly.
Then stop it.
It's always been this way.
I can't stand that mentality.
Same.
It's tradition. No.
Yeah.
Break it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I play the devil's advocate. Sometimes I say things because I want people to think about it. And I'm thinking about it, and maybe I'm changing my perspective as I'm talking. I think it's important to explore all these different narratives. I don't think it's realistic at all. I think it's when you start over-regulating and policing, it changes it.
Changes the whole point.
It changes. I think hardcore is no longer hardcore. And again, I don't want people, because some people have a struggle with this.
Yeah.
The nuances. You can have some of these things, but you don't have to have, how do I say this? You can maintain the integrity of hardcore and the things that make hardcore great and attractive to people and exciting and fun. And also people feel reasonably safe. But to expect 600 people in a room to all have the same expectations and all consent to each other for every little thing is not realistic.
No. Even because I think most people we know probably did, used to be in the pit and dance back in the day. But there were still some people that just didn't. That wasn't their thing, period. Like, they just didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool. They just, they wanted to just watch the band or watch us go nuts, and that's fine. So there's always going to be people that go there for a different reason and experience. What they personally need out of it, what they want out of it. So it's all, it's all perspective, period. Because, the whole point of this, to me anyway, is everyone has a different expectation walking into a show, and nobody should be leaving the show absolutely destroyed. Reasonably safe. There should always be a slight, not fear or danger, but kind of along those lines, like, oh, how nasty is the pick going to be tonight? Or, whatever, am I going to have to, like, when you throw your arm over your face not to get hit? And I've had that happen so many times because I'm close, because I want to be close.
Yes.
And I know what's going to happen, but I enjoy that, and that's fine. And would I enjoy getting absolutely smashed to the ground? No. If I have my glasses busted off my face? No. In the hospital, missing work? No. But if I had like a lump in my arm because someone smashed me because I covered my face, that's on me. I get that. And I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? But people shouldn't be getting absolutely crushed. That's...
Agreed. I've seen a lot of progress in hardcore. You just made a great point, and I think you want, although you're not necessarily participating in moshing, quote unquote, you want to be close enough. I mean, that's why you're there, right? To see the band, and so you might be in proximity, and so you're knowingly taking on that risk, and so. If you're a person who thinks that no one should touch you without consent,
right,
and that moshing is stupid, but you insist on moving up close and expect others
right
to stop what they're doing because you don't like it, is ridiculous.
Yeah, you're also an idiot too. Get out of here. Like, go stand way in the back.
Yeah, go stand in the back.
Like,
if I don't, yes. It's about decisions and responsibility on everyone.
Yes. Yes.
When one person thinks that they're more important than anyone else in the room, that's when stuff gets sketchy, because it's not about the one person. You know what I mean? We sit here, I say crowd killing is stupid. And I didn't want to come out and say that because I think it's ridiculous. I think it needs to end. It just needs to die.
Yeah.
Somebody might come on and say or send us a message, or even just sitting at home and they're like, this fucking guy doesn't know shit, whatever. Tell me why I'm wrong. That's my challenge. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why you think it's okay to punch someone watching a show that's 3 or 4 people deep.
Yeah, we welcome the comments, man.
Yeah.
Let's have some dialogue.
Totally. I'd like to know, because maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
We're just not saying it to say it to boost our egos. We want feedback.
Yeah.
Like, let us know.
Yeah. And my opinion is based on my experience and what I see.
Right.
And what I happen to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so if someone thinks I'm wrong, tell me why.
Yep.
But really, don't just be like, oh, boomer, or because I'm not.
Right, or just don't say it's part of hardcore.
It's part of hardcore.
Because we've been around when it wasn't. So if we saw bands that were around and it influenced the bands you listen to now, and it wasn't part of it then why is it part of it now?
That's correct.
Makes no sense.
And I'm not afraid of change. I know what's part of hardcore and what's not.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Like I just told you before we started recording, I listened to the new Hardlore.
Yes.
With Ray Capo, and he said when a band way back in the day when it first started, if a band had a record out, they were a sellout. Just think about that, how things have changed. Like even as something as simple as a record, because they called it making a single, which was pretty much like a 7-inch. That's all they ever wanted to do, because making a full album is a sellout. And then so when Agnostic Front came out with like Victim in Pain, they're a sellout.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding?
It's a great example of how attitudes and expectations and perspectives change. And hardcore continues to thrive and grow because it doesn't ask permission. Hardcore doesn't ask permission. It just does. There's not like a committee. that talks about it. People, I think, as a collective spirit, understand when something sucks and they try to change it. You know, that's why certain things are just not tolerated. And I wish crowd killing would be one of those things where more people would be like, that's unacceptable. With that being said, if you're coming to shows and whining about people touching each other, just stay home.
Right.
Really.
Seriously.
Just stay home. It's not
for you.
It's not for you. So don't show up expecting everybody to change because, you know, whatever.
Right.
Just don't do it. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion about it. Again, it's my opinion. Like it, don't like it. I don't care. People, you know, people can hit us up. Tell me why I am.
Yeah.
Just.
Seriously, let us know.
It's just crazy. Just crazy. More crazy talk coming out of this podcast.
Oh, yeah. We're nonstop.
Nonstop crazy talk. So that's what it is. I think, you know, we've punished you enough. So we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you for listening. This has been Two Mics, No Masters.
If you guys can give us a review on the Apple and Spotify podcast links there. And we're also on YouTube. If you can give us a like, subscribe, and a follow. And also hit the notification bell so whenever we drop something new on there, you get notified immediately and you can check it out.
Yeah, and I'm going to leave you all with one more question, one more thing to think about. You know, what's that one unwritten rule that you think every new hardcore fan should know? So, you know, you're going to your first show. What do you think someone should know? All right. Hit us up. Let us know.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Appreciate
Peace.
it.